Rogan. He was going to do this, but I tied him up and I put him in the closet after the podcast, and I wasn't gonna let him do the intro, but because I wanted to do it. And the things that what do they talk about? So I just start it.
There's a lot more time left. Were you cold? They're not that. You're shaking.
I'm just trying to be scared.
Episode 24. Enjoy. Ready to go.
Hold on to your butt.
Hold on.
You know, I've been listening to some of our older episodes, and like you can hear us talking in the background. And there was one that said, like, Buddy goes, and that's how I would murder him. And I'm like, what were we talking about when he said that?
I have no idea.
I gotta find it because it's really funny. It's like all you have to do is just murder
I could see
him.
Buddy being a serial killer.
I was so curious.
No, let's dig into this. So
I could though.
Not like
There's a Netflix movie or show that's coming out. It's about being in the brain of a serial killer. This perspective.
Oh yeah,
Kinda
it's
like-
a series.
like
It's
Osmosis,
like a
Osmosis Jones.
No. Like more of like
Wasn't that Osmosis
Breaking
Jones?
Bad, but Breaking Bad from like the serial killer.
It's kind of like Narcos.
Narcos in a way.
Yeah, where they kind of have it's a documentary kind of thing, but also a narrative
Is
drama.
Narcos really a documentary though?
Yeah, because it's all true shit, and they have real
Or is it-
pictures
is it-
and real video
Is
and
it
real
based
voices.
off of true stuff or is it factual?
Oh yeah,
Hello
the final
and welcome
ending
to the
is
Hold On to
same
Your Butts
picture
podcast. We're just
screenshot.
getting right into it. Let's just get back to Bled and Wyatt in action. Okay. All right. Kind of killed the vibe there.
Guess what I did?
What'd you do?
What'd you do?
I watched in the last 2 weeks all of Iron Fist, and I just finished Defenders before I got here. And
I haven't seen any of that. Do not ruin
that's my.
How was Iron Fist? Is it as bad as people say it is?
No, it's better than Luke Cage.
Really?
Honestly,
I dropped out of Luke Cage. I thought it was boring.
It
Not-
was.
I didn't think it was bad. I just like for whatever reason it wasn't like engaging me. We pointed out there, Wyatt.
Look how loud that is. Does that look?
No, it's just because it's stretched. I mean, we're being loud for
Okay.
sure, but
I'm gonna blame Buddy on that. Anyways, if I were to rank them, I would go Jessica Jones #1, then Daredevil, then Iron Fist, then Luke Cage.
Come back
Honestly.
here, Jessica.
What about
Exact- that's the
you
best
would really
part.
put Iron Fist over Luke Cage though?
Yeah, because Luke Cage had 15 bad guys, and you can give a fuck about any of them. And Iron Fist at least had 2 bad guys.
I'm surprised. Like, so I'd like. Oh, let's.
Is that all
This is
you-
a good topic.
Is
Let's
that, is
dig
that
into
what you
this for a
care
little
about
bit.
in the series?
Because
Just
they-
the bad guys they fight against?
Yeah, because you can't.
Makes a difference.
It does make a difference when you have so many bad guys that you can't really have character development for each one, and you can't learn to hate each one equally. It's just like, oh, halfway through the season, this person is defeated, and you're like, oh, I was really getting into that villain and that character development, and he's gone, and he was killed in a stupid way, and now we're moving on to somebody else. I only have 2 episodes before I care about him, and then that person's gone. And Diamondback was barely in it, and he was supposed to be the main bad guy. He was in 2 episodes.
That's
How
why, like-
stupid is that?
Like, I really like Jessica Jones and stuff, but I
Maybe
feel like
there's a reason behind it.
a major reason I like Jessica Jones season 1 was because David Tennant was in it, and he was really, really good.
That's why
So now
Jessica
I'm-
Jones was the best, because
Yeah.
it was one bad guy and you hated Killjoy. You hated him, and he was such a fantastic bad guy. The first season of Daredevil was just the kingpin for the most of it.
I thought Daredevil was super slow.
No.
thought
See,
it
I
was
was just
slow.
gonna say. Okay, so this
it
is
was
what's
slow.
surprising to me. You're not the only person that I've heard say that either. Daredevil to me is like the best Netflix original TV show that I've watched.
I'm not saying that
personally.
it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it took a long time to get going, and it's like, when is he going to start realizing that he has, he has these
All 4
abilities?
of them are like that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I actually think all 4 of them are just mediocre.
Would you have been? So we got into this discussion a lot on the Game of Thrones show, which you can listen to in its entirety by subscribing to us on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, however you listen to your podcasts. The Westeros
plug.
Gazette. But we talked about this about Game of Thrones this year too. In that Game of Thrones didn't have enough episodes probably to tell the story the way that it needed to be told. But I think a lot of times shows run into that in the reverse, where they are like, oh, we got to have 10 episodes because that's what you do. And then there's inevitably like episode 7 is super slow and everyone's like, well, what the fuck? Why do we need to have that?
But, like,
That's like sort of like Walking Dead too. Walking Dead had that like little patch of like episodes that was like, what is going on?
2 seasons.
It like went but it like went too deep into the character realm of like developing a character like further out, and you're like, what was the point of that? And then it's like something else that's like, okay, well, that was just like a waste of an hour to 45 minutes of my life.
I will admit this. I just finished watching Defenders. I even talked to my brother. He's like, he watched Defenders and didn't watch Iron Fist. And I was like, I feel like you can't watch Defenders without having to at least watch the other 4. And he was like, no, you don't need to watch Iron Fist. Honestly, if you're going to watch Defenders, you don't need to watch Jessica Jones. You don't need to watch Luke Cage. But you do need to watch Daredevil, and you do need to watch Iron Fist. Because it's honestly the Defenders story plot is the Iron Fist story plot. So you can't watch. So even if you don't like Iron Fist, you need to watch Iron Fist to really understand the Defenders. You really do.
So do you think that's why they probably shortened Luke Cage up and made it really, really quick of like all the bad guys because they knew they were going to go off of more of the Daredevil and the Iron Fist?
No, because
all 4 Defenders,
all 4 Defenders solo series had villains that were ended by the end of it. All 4 of them, with the exception of the Secret War. So,
Kingpin's alive, but
he was defeated.
He's defeated. Yep.
But the Secret War
that was a badass scene.
I didn't see
that. The last scene of you haven't watched any Daredevil?
I've watched it, but I haven't finished it.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't spoil it.
The second season's is very boring. I'm not gonna lie. Besides the Punisher,
but you did like the Punisher.
The Punisher, which is the first 4 episodes.
The first 4 were awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
After that, I'd struggle to stay awake during them. After that,
See what I think happened to me by the end of the first 4 episodes. It was like I think we talked about this in our Guardians of the Galaxy spoiler cast, which you can go back and listen to for volume.
We did that.
2. I was thinking Galaxy Quest.
Wait, did we do that, or was that just in an episode somewhere?
I think we went to go see it, but we never did it.
Has Buddy seen Galaxy Quest?
Oh yeah,
no.
It's a TV series. What? It's going to be a TV series. Yeah. Okay, so
back to the story.
But I think we said this about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where it was like, was it as good as the first one? No, it wasn't as good as the first one. But did we enjoy it? Yes. Because why? Because we got to spend more time with characters that we really like, and that's kind of how I felt about Daredevil. Like, I really, really, really fucking like the dude that plays Matt Murdock. Like, I think he's great at it, and I think he's really engaging when he's on screen, and I'm like listening to every word he says. And then the guy who plays Foggy, I initially hated, and I still think I might hate that guy.
Why'd you hate him?
He
seems like a giant
cheesy, sort of cheesy actor or something, like a character. Wasn't he in Mighty Ducks, by the way?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he was. Yeah, like
he was
fuller,
the big tall guy that had the hard slap shot.
Yeah. Anywho,
is that Fuller?
I really enjoyed Daredevil season 1. I really liked season 2 because of the Punisher, and then I think just however it ended, I was going to be happy just because I thought we got such a geek fan payoff for the way that those two interacted. So, The Defenders is worth watching, though. In Wyatt, The Defenders are worth watching.
Yeah, I did like it. It wasn't super great because Sigourney Weaver is obviously Sigourney Weaver and is amazing in it.
Sigourney Weaver.
The Secret War isn't really that exciting to me over Killjoy and the Punisher and Kingpin.
So Punisher's bad?
The Punisher's not in the Defenders.
He's
an anti-hero.
He's an anti-hero?
Yeah, he's a killer.
Well, I know he kills people. I understand that, but I don't know. I always thought the Punisher was one of my favorite characters, anyways. But
he's a good guy.
Just so you need to.
He's like Batman, but he kills people.
I think you need to at least understand the story plot of Iron Fist because it's all about Iron Fist as the Defenders. It's all about him. And what he represents and what he can do and who wants him. So if you're going to watch The Defenders, you need to at least understand the Iron Fist story plot. So it's unfortunately, I don't think you're going to enjoy The Defenders by skipping that if you don't want to watch it.
Can I ask you guys a question? In comic books, is Iron Fist, is he Asian or is he...
No, he's from New York. He's a billionaire.
White.
I believe he's
I
white.
know that was a big, huge controversy.
Asians can also be billionaires, just to be...
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying he's from New York.
Because I heard there's a lot of controversy around him playing Iron Fist as a white male lead role.
Oh, one of those whitewashing scandals?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know much about Iron Fist, to be honest.
No, neither do I. I was just asking, throwing that out there if anyone's ever heard of that. I thought I briefly heard something about that. So
got another TV show that I've been watching. I'm really enjoying it. I'm curious to see if you guys have either watched it or what you're like. Yeah, have you guys watched Rick and Morty?
No.
Because holy fucking shit, it's great. And maybe if someone's told you guys that in the past, or maybe you've heard
of it,
really
heard about it last week,
or maybe you see every once in a while that there's just a huge fan following for this show, and you're like, why the fuck is there such a big fan following?
And he burps all the time.
I finally watched it, and holy shit, it's fucking great. Please please watch
Did
it.
you start from the beginning, or
Yes.
did you start from the new season?
It doesn't really matter to start from. It does matter to
It's
start
like
from
The
the beginning.
Simpsons. You can just like
It's just. But the thing is, it's like
episodic.
it's funny and not like a Family Guy kind of way, but in this really high concept sci-fi every episode. And so like I'll give you one example of an episode that was just fucking hilarious. Okay. So essentially this entire show revolves around one family unit, okay? It's like the grandpa is Rick, the grandson is Morty, and then they have like the daughter of Rick and her husband, who are Morty's parents, and then they have Morty has a sister or whatever. So the show revolves around those five and like the hijinks that they get into and stuff. And then in one episode, they're all sitting around the table at the beginning of the episode, and they're talking with their Uncle Steve. And Uncle Steve is like, guys, I just want to thank you again for letting me live here for the past 4 years. They're like, Steve, whatever you say, like, you're welcome here anytime. He's like, no, and I wanted to show you my appreciation. I got us all tickets to go to Disney World. And they're like, Steve! And they're all, like, freaking out. And then, like, Rick comes in. He's like, what are you guys doing? It's like, Uncle Steve just got us all tickets to Disney World. And Rick's like, uh-huh. And he just shoots Steve in the head. And he's like, guys, there has never been an Uncle Steve. This is a parasite alien life form who has implanted memories into all of you, and you think that there's been an Uncle Steve, but there hasn't been. And then he just like shrivels into this like little tiny parasite.
I see what you're saying.
And then the whole episode is just they lock all of the doors, and they shut everything down, and they're like, oh, there's all these like weird ass characters in the house. Like, we have to figure out who's real, because these parasites are just going to keep growing if we keep having these made up memories. And it's like a clip show. Like, remember that one time we went and got ice cream? Like, and goes back to like them getting ice cream, and then at one point Rick's like, "Guys, there's always been the six of us." All right, he's like, "It's been me, Jerry, Summer, Morty, my daughter, and Mr. Poopy Butthole. It's always been us. It'll always be us." And it's like this little weird character named Mr. Poopy Butthole that's so obviously one of the parasites, but like they all, it's already like they're totally all duped now at this point. And they even like put Mr. Poopy Butthole like in the beginning of like the opening credits and stuff, and like just make it seem supernatural. It's crazy and hard to explain.
No, I
but,
see
like,
what you're saying. It's like it's if you took Family Guy and made it in the future, but
and put high concept, funny sci-fi around
stuff.
It.
It's
Yeah.
about this like that would be something that you have seen in a sci-fi movie as a serious sci-fi movie, and
exactly.
that's why that is entertaining.
And their relationship is a little bit like Doc and Marty McFly.
That's what I was about to
and
say, because
stuff.
that's what it reminded me of when I first caught a glimpse of it, like a brief like introduction to the series. Like I haven't watched it at all. But
Do yourself a favor and watch the first. If you watch the first 3 episodes and you aren't hooked, stop. But they're 20 minutes. Watch the first 3 episodes. It's going to be fucking hilarious. Wait, can we get a quick live update? So Buddy is currently doing his fantasy draft for
I'm not
football
playing
right
fantasy this
now.
world
So
year.
have you made your first pick?
I made my first pick.
who'd you pick?
I don't remember.
Oh my god!
It was the first running
watch
back.
football?
David Johnson, that's
Good
his
call.
name.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Dude, I would have taken Marshawn Lynch, man.
Oh, well.
I got Marshawn Lynch.
I
You
know.
did?
I did.
Dang.
I know the core audience that we cater to is probably not big sports fans.
So let's just dive into it a little deeper, then.
All right, what else are you guys doing? So I've been watching Rick and Morty. I've been doing that. You guys watching anything else cool?
I was able to get into the private beta for Call of Duty World War II.
How does it differ?
I would say it brings COD back to its early stages, like World at War. Any WW2.
I remember playing World or just the first Call of Duty, just Call of Duty.
Just Call of Duty. It just brings it back to that.
Yeah.
Now they still have dolphin diving, which is awesome. It's like one of my favorite things to do when you're running.
What does that mean?
What is that?
A dolphin dive, like that's what they call it. People just put quotes on that and just call it what it is. So basically, you're running and you're a full sprint, and then you say you go down to do a drop shot or something like that. So that's when you like lay all the way down. You hit circle, or you hit whatever it is to crouch or lay down all the way. So while you're running, you hit the crouch button, and then you actually like dive forward and land on your stomach, and you can the abilities
like
you equip.
Battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to that, yeah.
Cool.
So this one's more based off of so each you have like, so you have a selection of like an SMG character or assault or like sniper or whatever like that, but there's not really in a perk system anymore. You only have one.
Thank fucking God.
You only have one selection of a perk.
Yep.
But the perks fall underneath the characters of what they do. So it's character specific perks, and you have one extra perk of like reloading fast or whatever. So there's things that fall underneath each individual, each like character you select, but then there's an additional perk you can select right now. So that's from the private beta that I've played so far. It's actually over, so the next round is in November when the game comes out. So
Boom.